Hello, everyone. This presentation is on HR racism, inclusivity in the workplace. I think this topic is especially relevant post-COVID, and when we're seeing more people being more aware and being more confident in speaking out to their experiences in the workplace and how they negatively affect them, especially coming from marginalized groups and underrepresented groups. Meeting agenda. As our society has evolved, the need for human resource departments to do the same has increased. We have an important task as a company to ensure that our employees feel safe and represented. We will cover how to create culturally diverse workplace through equality, inclusion, and representation. Here are some statistics that kind of help paint the picture to show how certain groups feel about how they are represented and how they're treated in the workplace. More than 21 million Black American workers are in the U.S. labor force. The weekly median salary of Black and Hispanic workers are lower than that of all U.S. workers 16 years old and older, which is a median average of $1,059 a week, which is quite a difference between the 878 a month and the 823 a month Black and Hispanic workers earn, respectively. Particularly pertaining to Black workers, the average unemployment rate among Black American men and women are around 60%, while the national average is roughly 3.5%, which you can see is almost double the percentage in unemployment rate. One of the most important statistics that we'll discuss in this presentation is the 41% of Black workers that say that they have experienced discrimination in the workplace. This is crucial because this is almost half of Black workers, and they make up a large part of the workforce in America. And it is important for us to make sure these people are represented and valued and feel that value and representation in the workplace to promote retention and to make people want to come work for our company. What is HR racism? HR racism is a form of racism that involves bias and discrimination in the HR processes, whether it be in recruitment, hiring, and promotions. This can have a damaging impact on certain groups, specifically minorities. Discrimination in this context can be described as negative treatment based on a personal characteristic, more specifically race, protected by the Human Rights Code. It also has an impact on the organization's culture as a whole. HR racism can lead to a toxic work environment for all workers that can have a negative impact on productivity and morality. In order to combat this, we must create and implement policies, activity plans, and practices to address the issue and promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Now on to implicit bias. This is a bias that creates a negative, unconscious attitude towards a certain group of people. This bias includes stereotypes and prejudice that can affect our understandings and actions toward people and can impact the recruitment and hiring practices of a human resource department. The ability to jump in front of this bias and addressing it is important in implementing ethical HR practices and making sure that our workplace is as safe and inviting and inclusive as possible. We'll now talk about the importance of diversity in hiring. One reason it is important to have diversity in the hiring process is that having people with different backgrounds will provide different perspectives that can be shared and combined to increase creativity in the work. I'm a big believer in having multiple perspectives in it for a certain situation in order to create and gather all insights necessary to make an actionable and data-driven decision. Diversity in hiring also allows our customers to feel more connected to our organization. If we have people that represent them and have insights to their needs and backgrounds, it will bode well for our customer satisfaction. This type of inclusion will also attract talent from all different walks of life to our company. If people see people that look like them, it will be more likely that they'll want to work in a company that represents them. Here are some policies to promote diversity and inclusion. The first thing to do when looking at ways to improve HR policies would be to review the old system. Find bias and obstacles that prevent diversity and inclusion. This will give insight on how the old policies impact different groups and how to fix them. Policies and procedures can be put in place in order to promote diversity and inclusion, such as a mission statement that welcomes people of different cultures and backgrounds. There can also be programs and training workshops to spread awareness and coach employees. It is important to consistently provide these resources and trainings to help people understand and embrace people and perspectives different from their own. Now we'll talk about creating a supportive environment. We need to encourage employees to support and speak up for their peers, especially those who are marginalized. The HR team could provide training in order to show people how to be effective in supporting their colleagues. This will help people understand their privilege and how they can use it to help others. Mentorship programs can also be created so that like-minded people can be developed in a professional setting, regardless of their background. Creating these procedures and programs mean nothing if we aren't holding everyone in the company to the same standard. Accountability and a safe space to list grievances is a must. Addressing bias and discrimination. Clear reporting procedures are necessary to promote confidentiality for employees who speak up on discrimination they face. There must be a clear outlet for their voices to be heard. We need to provide quick and sincere responses to these grievances. There should be a process where the case is investigated, and there must be a guideline of how certain situations are handled based on severity. We also must take action to prevent bias and discrimination from happening. Training and awareness will help mitigate things that can potentially promote bias. With this, we'll also be able to track progression. One way to track how successful the HR department is to see the representation of groups in leadership, retention rates, and surveys to measure employee satisfaction. We can use data collected from surveys and exercises to make data-driven decisions to make the HR process more efficient and bias-proof. We need to encourage all advancements of diversity and inclusion, as well as being honest and aware of areas that need improvement. We have discussed what HR racism is and how it impacts the workplace. We also dove into practices and procedures that can be implemented in order to limit and expose bias and discrimination. We must encourage employees and employers to take steps towards creating a diverse and inclusive environment. It takes everyone in order to create the change we need in the workplace. With all hands on deck, we will see the benefits of having a diversely represented workforce. By implementing inclusive policies, fostering allyship, and measuring progress, we can create a workplace where everyone feels valued and respected. Thank you for your attention, and let's continue working together to build a more inclusive future.